Shit. Okay. Um,
I just need some of it. I don't need the whole. All right, love you. Get to bed. Lay down, get warm. Your brother's starting to move. You're gonna listen to my Yeah, I got my hair listen to my phone call.
so cute. Milo's so cute. I love listening to her. Hi, Darla. Hi, Janelle. Hi, Tammy. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, hold on. Here's Thomas. Hold on a minute. Oh, well, why? Where did he go? Okay. So, hi, ladies. Hello, hello. I hope that you guys had an amazing day in observation. I sure was. And so before I get started, um, I'm going to make sure that I bring up the chat so you guys can type inside of there. Or if you want to share real quick, because I do want to ask you guys something that like, what is one thing that you noticed today? So either it was a behavior, and I'll do a recap of what we talked about in day one yesterday, but kind of your homework for today was to just to kind of observe your behavior and like where are these things coming up or what are you getting triggered around? What do you judge yourself for or find yourself judging others? Um, or like tonight we're going to talk about the golden shadow and like how to really step further into our gifts and like in our healer like energy, right? So is there something that you have wanted to like a goal that you've had that you are like something's been holding you back? Like did anything come up today around where you kind of are in resistance, I guess, around showing up in your authenticity? That could even be one too, if anybody wants to share. One thing because it's going to help kind of move into everything else. It's also good when you can like reflect and observe your own behavior. There's something I didn't go over yesterday that I want to go over before we go into the drop-in because I think you guys will understand a little better. Or just let me know too. Are you understanding everything? Is everything like resonating? Do you have any confusion about anything, like just give it all to me because this is what I'm just going to keep getting better and better at doing this, right? I want to make sure that it's relevant for you guys. I want to make sure that if there's something that you guys are really interested in and you're like, I'd like to know more about, like I'd like to know more about the embodiment process or doing the body work and not just in my mind. Like I just kind of need the feedback of whatever you guys say. So, um, let me go ahead and show you, or does anybody have something to share before I go on to this of what they observed today? Or if you're watching the replay, please like put this in the chat. Like the more that you participate and the more that you actually sit and think about things, the more breakthrough you're going to have. I can promise you that. That's why people don't do have breakthroughs. I'll just go ahead and tell you is that I talked about yesterday of like people could be doing this work or doing the work for like years and years and years, but they don't have breakthroughs. It's because they're not integrating, they're not applying what they're learning to their life. They're not integrating it. They're not actually becoming an embodiment of, like they're not taking action. They're not taking a takeaway and then going out in the world and actually applying it and getting feedback. And inside of From Wounded to Wild, the 8-week group coaching program that we're wrapping up on Saturday, that's what they learn. That's what we learned how to do is connect with our intuition. And there is that vision, the connection, receptivity of receiving, and then co-creation. Like it's a loop. It is a creation loop. You're constantly going to be having a vision. You're constantly going to be connecting with whatever your message is or connecting with yourself and that inner thing of like spirit and nourishment. You're going to be asking for feedback to make it better, just like what I did when I got on here. And then you're going to go out into the world and you're going to do it. And then you're going to do the whole process over again. So it's like a cycle of creation that's always happening. Where do you get stuck in that process? That's also something that you can like the shadow work can help with is where do you have a lot of resistance around actually like receiving? Do you have a lot of resistance around asking for feedback because you're afraid of failure? Like whatever it is. Like there's so many things. Um so just know that as you think about that and maybe as I show you guys this um and you'll understand too why I started with the victim yesterday and the behaviors. Okay, I'm going to share right now the the 4 layers of deep healing, okay, of how this work is really um kind of like how if you can see a visual, I know visuals, I like visuals. I know other people, a lot of you on here like visuals, so let's go ahead and do it. And then if you guys have anything to share, just put it in the chat of like when things come up. Okay, we'll do it that way. Okay, let me. Where is, hold on. Oh, there it is. Why is this not coming up? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let me just go ahead and we'll get going here and then we'll go into the drop-in here in a second because that's a very, very important piece to doing this is being able to drop in and relax, and that'll also help you access your subconscious mind throughout this training. So in this session, day 2, you're going to learn how to find your golden shadows and why I really am go moving towards like the golden shadows and really helping people find those because those are the positive things, right? That's confidence, that's authenticity, that's intelligence. It's all the things that like society is like, you can't be too much. You can't take up too much space. Oh, you can't be, a woman and be really smart or sexy or beautiful because then that makes you a certain way. So if you have any of those like thoughts or conditioning around being too much or taking up too much space, the golden shadows are gonna, that's where those will come out, right? Of why we're keeping ourselves small. And then the 5 layers to deeper healing, I added a layer, and I'll share that here in a second. But it's a visual, so you guys can kind of see what's happening in the process when we do, as we're doing this, and like why I started with behaviors yesterday, because your behavior is really what you want to look at the most of how you're showing up, how you're reacting to the world, what you're making what your habits are. Like it doesn't matter what kind of healing you're doing, you're always starting there because that's the conscious level. That's what we see. And then how to drop into the subconscious mind and body intelligence, and then the purpose of the nervous system regulation tools. I think it's important to know too of like why we do those and what's actually happening scientifically within our body when we do this, because it's not just me wanting to be annoying and saying, have you meditated? Did you go outside? Have you grounded? Like, have you, all the other things, as I know, have you, Tammy, how you said yesterday, you asked your in your group of like, did you breathe today? Um, I know sometimes, at least a couple of my clients are like, "Oh my God, I know you're going to ask me that." But that's resistance. Like our body is resisting doing that work for some reason, right? We're getting close to something. So those are what we're going to go over tonight. And again, with the goal of really raising your awareness around how you're showing up in your life, but also to develop habits that are going to strengthen that relationship that you have with your shadow self, with the part of you that you try to hide, the part of you that you think isn't good enough, and all those things. We're really trying to just build a relationship in these 3 days of for you to do that. Okay. So I want to show you guys this. Let me go back out of here for a second. Why is this doing it? Hold on. Hi, Stacy, if you're able to say anything. I'm glad that you're on.
Hello.
Hello. Did you guys have a good time last night?
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Good. I'm so excited to hear all about it. I love it. It was his birthday. Okay. So actually, Stacy, great timing because now this isn't the one Stacy made. So Stacy made me a visual for this, and I did not save it in my Canva. But remember, Stacy, how I told you that I made one and that yours is like a lot better. This is this literally it took me like 5 minutes to do this, but I want to use yours. The one that she created was with a lot of intention and like the colors that she used. So just know like I am going to use yours, but I have to save it to Canva. And I appreciate that. And I love that. I love what Stacey did because she was like, "Oh, I see a need. I know that she needs something and we're also like gonna be working together." So she just kind of took the initiative of like, "Look, this is what I can do." And that is an example of um like Stacey, really, you've had to really step into or find your golden shadows with like the business that you're starting, like how much it has challenged you like on every sense of the word. So we'll definitely get into that later, just as an
Mm-mm.
example.
Thank you.
Yes, I love it. So what you're seeing here, I added one more up at the top because I'm a coach and because I want to use shadow work as a coaching tool instead of just this like therapeutic tool for healing from trauma, right? It's more of how can we use this model or like this modality as in with coaching. So I only have 4 levels here, but at the top up here that I'm going to add is a goal. We have to have a goal or an intention or a desire or something that we're going after to start the process, right? Whether that is, for me, it was to feel good. That was like my number one goal for 10 months. Every day it was, I want to feel good today. Now, what did that mean for me at the time? I didn't know, right? I didn't know the terms nervous system regulation. I didn't know what window of tolerance was. I didn't know what I didn't know all of that. And sometimes like we don't always have to know those terms. That's not the important part. But when you start to and this is what I talked about in this an interview I did the other day was the reason I then wanted to learn all of the science, like the process of nervous system regulation or rewiring. I wanted to learn how to do it because then I could teach it. It's very difficult, or not difficult, but it's like a different it's just different when you go from doing it yourself and like seeing the results for yourself and then shifting over into teaching it. Abby, I'm sure you could when you did your calendar workshop, I'm sure you noticed that of like, oh gosh, this really like we can really overthink a lot when it comes to teaching because we're like it comes so great to us, but then when we want to teach it to other people, and it's just a whole different ball game. So so, and I say that because I want you guys to approach this workshop 2 ways. And I didn't say this yesterday, but I thought of it as I was rewatching the session. That I want you guys, you can come at this workshop and this training in 2 ways. Number one, of course, for yourself, right? Doing this work yourself, because that's where it has to start. If you don't do this work for yourself, we really don't have any business doing it or teaching other people how to do it, right? If you've never had a coach or invested in one or worked with a therapist or actually built a relationship and you've been coached yourself, it's really difficult to coach other people, right? That's why I didn't coach anyone else really until I really had coaching and saw that I could explain or show the results in my life from coaching. Same thing with anything that we do, right? If we're going to start a business, like helping people make money, I see this all the time actually, where like coaches are like, I'm going to help you make money in your business. But then they haven't made a lot of business or money in their business. And I've been seeing this a lot where I'm like, that's just not an integrity. To me, I'm not no judgment to anyone who does that, but like I think that it also we're at a disadvantage when we have not experienced it ourselves and we try to do it for someone else. There's a disconnect and people feel that. So with this diagram, okay, or this triangle, this is really the model of deeper healing. So it starts with a goal right at the top. We have an intention. We want something, okay? This week, you guys want to raise your awareness around how you're showing up, right? Raise your awareness around your behavior. What are your triggers? What is it that is holding you back from really going further into your gifts and intuition, right? Or it is, I'm just trying to build a relationship with my shadow self in these 3 days. So those are goals, or it could be, whatever your goal is. And I'd love to know if you have a different goal this week of what you're wanting to get out of this, like drop it in the chat because I really want to know. So then the next thing, right? So when we do that, now we can start to really go down, and I want to put like arrows. I think Stacy's has arrows, but the first thing is always asking ourselves, like, how am I behaving? How am I showing up in my life? So for me, like last week I had the flu, but I also felt really like depressed. I felt really depressed last weekend. I think because I was so tired. I don't really know what was happening, but I was just in so much like apathy and depression, like, I felt sadness. I felt like I really just took the time to close my eyes and like, okay, how am I feeling right now? And how am I behaving? Like, what am I doing or not doing? Because behaving is what we're doing and what we're not doing, right? So if you have a goal of, like for me, of doing this workshop, that was my goal. And I had to push it to another week. And that almost like it brought up all this self-sabotage stuff. This brought up failure. It brought up so much for me that I had to sit in that, right? In that behavior. And so then you go down to the beliefs, right? This is like the next layer of healing is your belief system. What am I believing to act this way, right? Or to feel this way? So we find our limiting beliefs through how we feel. So I was feeling sad. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling not apathy really, but like I was just really like beating myself up. But again, I was sick. I needed to rest. I needed to take care of myself. And so one of the beliefs was like, I don't have time to be sick. That was like a belief I was believing. And since I was believing that of like, I don't have time to be sick. If I'm sick, I'm letting people down. I was supposed to do this workshop this week. Like I would just go on this like tangent in my brain of like not doing good, right? It was that failure, whatever. So then as I started to do this process, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, who says that I don't have time to be sick? Like, who is really saying that, right? And so for me, I know how to question my thoughts, of course. However, if it's not just our beliefs, like, so this is why mindset isn't enough. We'll get into this part of like, okay, we can go to our beliefs and be like, okay, I am, I'm a failure because, or, oh, by me not doing this workshop this week, I am a failure, or I have failed, or that was like what I was believing. So a belief is a sentence. It is saying, we can use money too, like, having a bunch of money makes me greedy. The belief would be having a bunch of money makes me greedy, but then the shadow piece, which we go down one more layer, what trait is this belief supporting? And the shadow is greedy, right? as if being greedy is bad. So maybe when you were growing up, you heard your parents say, oh, that person's greedy, or rich people are greedy. Like, think of all the money beliefs or the things that people told you about money, or like maybe you made your own money, but then you took some out to go shopping. And someone's story from today that she told me. And that person, like their parent, is like, that's greedy. Why would you? Or maybe they didn't, maybe it wasn't greedy, but like, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. So think about the money beliefs, the things you were raised with, because money is also a neutral object that we all project onto. So almost always, money is a good place to go when you want to find your shadows. Whatever you believe about money is going to be also a reflection of something else. So that belief of me thinking that I'm greedy because I make money or because I'm rich or whatever, that's a belief that, and then that greedy part is the shadow. Like, what trait is this belief supporting? And then we go down into the nervous system, right? This is the deeper healing that happens, saying, how is my nervous system responding right now? So for me, it was responding in like freeze over the weekend. I was very tired, but then I also had these thoughts of like, failure. And I really had the chance to sit and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freeze. When we don't want to do anything, when we go into apathy, which is something that I can do a lot, that's a nervous system response. And when you can notice that, when you notice what is happening within you, it helps us create space between our experience and our spirit, right? Or like us as a human, like, okay, this is how my body's responding to this. Okay, so we know that, right? So we're aware of what the issue is, right? So we've went from what our behavior is, which yesterday I gave you a whole bunch of behaviors tied to the victim archetype. There was a reason for that, right? Like yesterday, it was about behavior. And you guys look at those behaviors and like, okay, which ones am I showing? What am I acting like? Where is the victim part of me playing out in my life? And I'm blaming other people or whatever it is that you're doing. Again, no judgment. We have to have the three things before we start doing shadow work: take responsibility, find safety within our body, and then self-compassion, right? Just really having compassion for ourselves. And that really creates a foundation for healing on a very deep level because you're no longer identifying so closely with or stuck in like self-hatred or self-anger, resentment, right? We kind that compassion piece helps us get out of that. And then we can see from, a observation view or whatever of what's happening. So that's why we start with the behavior. Always start with the behavior. Always start with your reactions to things. That's always where we're going to find the deeper stuff. It's always surface level. And then, like, why we wouldn't go down into a shadow when we can just use, like, it's called an embodied belief shift, or just when you want to do mindset work by itself, we can absolutely do that. That's not saying that mindset work, because it changed my life, right? Of my survival beliefs or limiting, whatever you want to call them. That did change my life. But then there were things lingering under the surface that no matter how much I changed my thoughts of, okay, so like money, let's go back to money. If you saw your parents fighting about money growing up, like if you were conditioned, you had that observatory or whatever conditioning where you just saw people who were rich, they were really mean maybe, or your parents said it, like that was something that you learned as a child that like went that you made a decision of like, oh, this is bad. I'm never going to be greedy. I don't want to have a bunch of money. Like that's not just a belief, right? Like if we could just change our belief to, oh, I love money. Anyone ever tried to do that when you're like, you have a lot of money stuff and you're like, I'm gonna make, I can make so much money because I love money. It's my best friend. If you feel that and you're like, oh my God, that is not true at all. Because you've believed, I mean, that's part of your identity, really. You don't even know that there's another way to believe. And Janelle and I were talking about this today, where I was today I had an amazing like reminder of the magic that is just the magical feeling when you first figure out or hear that you can change your thoughts. It's magical. And today it happened in meditation today because we had some patients from the unit really want to do meditation. So they were in there and just seeing their faces of like they're in such this low place of their life and they're in so much resentment and so much like hopelessness, and to see like their faces light up when we say you can change the way that you tell your story, like get showing them that there's another way they can talk about their trauma or there's another way they can look at stuff. It is an awakening moment and it's such a beautiful sight. If anyone has never seen that before, of like, I mean, it's just, it just filled my soul and helped me so much better, like, than it did in any other day of like, that's why I'm doing this work, right? That's why we are doing this work because people don't just know this information. It's easy for us because we've been in it and I teach it and every day, right? It's our normal at this point. But remember the people out there who have no idea that life can feel easier. And so I just want to say that for you guys because we're all healers here. We're all meant to um, help other people. And I think whenever you start to feel like, what am I doing this for? I'm not seeing results. I'm not blah, blah, blah. Come back to, okay, but there is a purpose behind all of this, right? And it's really not all about me. So, does that make sense for you guys as far as this, like the levels of healing and how you can go deeper? And with shadow work, it does get down to like the core of that. Okay. Let me know if you're watching the replay if you have any questions about that. Okay. Real quick, we'll talk about these nervous system responses. This is super important because, again, that's the deepest layer that's down at the bottom of that triangle of knowing how your body responds um, to a stimuli, right? Or to an event or something, how your body, the sensations, the tenseness, the you actually feeling how it feels in your body to when somebody or when life is not going the way we want it to. This is one too. So crisis. I was talking about really these 3 days being about you, like me. I want to help you guys remember or your belief in your capability to use your resources when you're in a crisis. Like that is really what I want to help you guys do in these 3 days is like remember your power when it comes to you being able to be the co-creator of your life, right? And to use a crisis and turn it into a gift and heal through that. But knowing your nervous system responses are key in doing shadow work. So that if you don't know what it feels like to feel safe, um, then you're not going, like, it's not that you're not going to be able to do this work, but if you aren't sure, like, I don't know what it feels like. I didn't know what it felt like to be safe. I just knew that I wanted to feel better. For me, I used drugs to do that, right? I used a stimulant to get more energy, right? And then I would use like a downer to bring me down. I literally took drugs to like go up and down. And what I didn't know was that I was just like, oh, my nervous system, I need more energy. Oh, I need to go down. Like I didn't realize that scientifically something was happening, but that window of tolerance, this is like a key term that when you want to handle more bullshit or more stress, if you want to maintain a calmness and confident and relaxed and content and secure and level-headed amongst the chaos of your life, this is the thing to pay attention to, is that window of tolerance. And so when we experience a lot of trauma in our life, that just basically has filled up, like you can think of like a water bottle. I use a water bottle analogy a lot of like you have a bottle, it gets really, really, really full, okay, of trauma and negative experiences and all the things to where one day we just like explode, right? You're not paying attention to your emotions, you're pushing things down, you're conditioning people around you, aren't showing you support, you're in a fear response all the time, you're in survival mode. So the littlest thing can happen and our top just like flips off. You can think of this as like having a short fuse. Um, you can think of this as, relapsing. You go into using drugs again because, oh my gosh, life feels very hard. So this is the purpose of all of it, right? Is to widen and expand that window of tolerance. So you can think of this as, again, you feel safe, calm, relaxed, confident, secure, um, level-headed, etc. I want you guys to think about what it feels like for you. What does it feel like for you? Or like when you're in alignment, I'll use that language, because that's what we use, right? When I feel in alignment, I feel, how do you feel? That's how you can know what it feels like, right? This is my goal. And then you make that your goal all the time. Like, I want to feel this way. I want to feel whatever it is, relaxed, content, think of what those words are for you, because this isn't about me. I'm teaching you guys this, but I want you to actually connect it to your language and what it means for you. So our nervous system is either up, where we're anxious, talking fast, can't focus, right? We have a shortness of breath, we can't sleep, we're overwhelmed, our mind is just ruminating over and over. We're angry. We can be shaking too. This can, trauma responses can be like we're shaking, our whole body is shaking with whatever is happening. You're in this place of just like, I can't calm down, right? I have to be doing something. So that is being hyper aroused. If you're hypo aroused, going down, which is one of the ones that I am in a lot, feeling lazy, feeling avoidant, depressed, disconnected, shut down. If when we scroll endlessly just because we are wasting time, if we watch Netflix endlessly, that was my issue a couple months ago. I'm just like blind, like watching Netflix and not really like, just because then I went to numb. I didn't want to deal with stuff. Because I hadn't done some of my nervous, like I hadn't meditated for a couple days. I didn't breathe. I didn't do any of that. And the moment that I did do it and I worked with my chakras and I did my practice, I went right back into that window of tolerance, right? This really gives you your power back over how you feel. And when you know what's happening in your body, again, you can kind of observe it, right? When we're not feeling present, we have memory loss. So, when we're depressed and everything, we have memory loss. We're tired. We're stuck in the freeze response. We can't feel in our body. So, if you have a hard time feeling in your body, feeling emotions, feeling sensations, then again, this is like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we have to regulate that nervous system and then get back in that window of tolerance. And the more that you do the practices, the more that you have a mindful morning, right? You wake up and you just meditate, or do mind breathing, or you do yoga. Um, or if you just do that, every Saturday. Abby, I know that you do yoga every Saturday. Like the consistency though of doing something where we regulate our body, that is what creates this bigger window of tolerance. We can handle more stuff in our life without losing our shit. So think about for yourself, like what are some nervous system responses that you have? What do you tend to be in more than other times? Do you tend to be down? Do you tend to be really like uppity and have a lot of energy and need to do stuff and like have a lot of energy? Like start to just observe where you lie on this, where either up or down, or you can go from, both. Um, and then have a practice. And this really, you can't do shadow work if you don't do this. Like, you might as well, because you're going to feel triggered. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to feel defensive. Like, that's the point of shadow work, right? Is to get that response, because that nervous system response is what's been wired, right? We've been programmed that way by the responses of other people in our life. Growing up, our parents telling us we're not good enough, or however, going back to you, what you were told you were too much of. It's bad to say no to people. So we became people pleasers, right? You just want to think about your own stuff that's happened from your childhood and kind of understanding why we are the way we are. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but these are just tools. These are nervous system regulation tools. So when you're very anxious and you're up, this is also what crystals can be used for. Crystals help to regulate the nervous system, right? If you need to ground, we grab a black tourmaline, right? Or some black stone. That is helps us to ground, right? Or a weighted blanket. Or you can do like the sacred space visualization that we did yesterday. That is something you can do too when you feel anxious, is just closing your eyes and going to that safe space or that place that feels so good and warm and just like comfortable and okay, I feel because you want to regulate your nervous system in with that visualization. I will say though, when you're in when you're hyper, when it's up, you don't want to do mindset work. Mindset work is not going to work. Changing our beliefs when we're in hyper arousal is pointless because we're not connected to that prefrontal cortex. We are in our limbic part of our brain. So nothing is going to stick. That's why if you ever have a lot of energy and you try to like shift your beliefs, it's not going to stick. Just like last week when I had that traumatic experience at work, when they were trying to teach me stuff as I was seeing patients at the same time, teach me a whole new EMR. They were like, "Oh, you're a good learner." And the next day, I didn't remember anything because I'm like, I wasn't connected with that front part of my brain, that rational, that part that's like making decisions and stuff like that. So just know that it's pointless. This is why also if people do drugs or they're very anxious and they go to therapy, I'm like, what is happening? Because nothing's sticking. So I'm like, please do these like regulate their nervous system first. And then, or if someone's using drugs, it's difficult to get therapy. If you're doing like cocaine or meth or like, and I see it all the time of like, I can't see you because you're using and I can't prescribe meds to you because of liability, but you can still go to therapy. And it never has made sense to me. But anyway, um, just that this is why that's so important. Even teaching, like, yeah, anyway, it's just crazy how this doesn't happen with people. But anyway, if you're up, breathing, right? Breathing helps. And then if you're down, to help raise your vibration and to get back into that window of tolerance, opening up your windows, the sunlight coming in, right? Or getting creative or take a cold shower, dance, right? Jumping up and down and, smelling oils. So like I like frankincense and like peppermint and stuff or doing puzzles or something like that. So, and connecting with safe people or a coach, right? So like those are the things. I'll post this so you guys can kind of create your own practice of how you regulate your nervous system because this is what needs to happen for that deep healing to happen. So, okay. All right. So, we're going to go ahead. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? And we'll go into the drop-in practice, and we're going to kind of drop in to connect with our body and our subconscious mind. And I just want to give you guys this example. I think, let's see, hold on. I know Darla's done this, Stacy has, Abby has, Tammy, I don't think that you have ever done this with me. So this is a good, it's just a good, it's hypnosis, right? It's really going into a hypnotic state that you can start to really connect with those deeper parts of yourself. And because in order to do this work too, we have to just trust our whatever is happening. And I want to say this before we go into this because I know that our logical brain can say, I'm not seeing anything. What is she talking about? Oh, I can't feel. My mind is racing. My thoughts are everywhere. Um, I just ask that you guys just observe your experience. There is no right or wrong. the most important thing is that you trust what's happening. And when we go through the shift tomorrow night, when we shift from whatever shadow you find tonight, or whatever shadow you want to work with tomorrow night, when we actually do the shift, this is going to help you. This is like a preview of what, like, the first part of it. So you guys, and you can listen to it again if you want later on. And then tomorrow night I'll actually take you guys through the visualization and the actual, like, back and forth of the conversation that you're going to have with the shadow part of you. Let me see. Before I go into that, I don't know. I guess we'll talk about golden shadows real quick, and then we'll do the drop in. That way, then we'll be ready to get off of here. Um, because with the golden shadow, I won't go too much into this. We're not going to talk about dark shadows in this workshop. We're only going to focus on the golden ones, which are the positive ones. Shadow work doesn't have to be scary and dark and like we don't have to go into our trauma ever unless we want to. So if you decide to coach, if you guys go, start to get clients, or even for yourself, if you've ever had a therapist or a coach be like, "Oh, we need to go into this very traumatic thing that happened," and you felt resistance, like, know that we don't have to do that. Like, honestly, people can ascend and heal and just change their story around the trauma. And Stacy, I don't know if you watched yesterday, but I said that our story around our trauma, our story of our trauma that we tell ourselves and other people, is just as important, if not more important, than the actual trauma itself. And that goes for ourselves, that goes for other people, of like, just knowing that it's okay. Like, we just want to give people permission that they don't have to, like, go into all their stuff all the time. And I think that that's just really a big thing right now, especially with the way of the world and like the chaos and the crisis that we're experiencing. Let's bring some, like, lightness to it. That's really what I feel like. Love, and just being like, everyone is safe in our space all the time. They don't have to be anything that they aren't. So, with a golden shadow, real quick, I think that most of you on here know about that type of shadow. I'm trying to find though where it went. Um, where did it go? Oh wait, right here. Okay. So, the golden shadow is there. It's a positive trait. These are positive traits that we suppress because someone told us it's not okay to be confident, to be intuitive, to be a badass, right? And that, or else we're selfish and bad, right? When we are a people pleaser and we're in codependency and we're doing everything for everyone else and we have that over responsibility piece, it can feel really bad and selfish when we start to focus on ourselves. And when we have people in our life who are used to us being a doormat or a people pleaser, they get pissed off that we are starting to do stuff for ourselves. I mean, it is interesting, right? If anyone else has experienced that, please share. But like, you piss people off that aren't on the same journey as us, and then it can make us either not like, either to stay small and not be too big and not take up too much space. Um, or we're like a rebel, and most of us are rebels here. We do the opposite. We're like, whatever, I am gonna fucking pay attention to myself anyway. There's nothing you can say. But I mean, as much as we say, like, I can tell you, I've definitely watered down being at turning point. I'll just be real. Okay. Going back and working with the public after I had done this work for like 4 or 5 years, I did water myself down for a little while. I did stop being so big. I stopped sharing my thoughts around money and abundance and how I believed we could make as much as we want. I truly believe that because of what I had seen, the evidence that I had seen by the coaches I was working with, making 500,000 to millions of dollars a year, right? I put myself in rooms with people like that so then I could find the evidence of that being true, that I can actually make a lot of money and be like a big impact in the world and come from love, and it is fucking amazing. And but I didn't think like that before. And then when I went to Turning Point, I got surrounded by people who were still in this lack mentality, no fault to their own, right? I mean, it's just society, and when we're very limiting ourselves. We don't want to talk about, how we made $10,000 in a month, right? Or how we manifested, like, so I stopped talking about all that and I could feel it. And so what was happening is I fucking put that in my shadow of like being confident and big. And then it took a coach, my shadow coach, that was like, you're suppressing your magic a little bit here. So think about where you're showing up like that right now in your life. Is there certain people that you are around, work, like coworkers? Is there someone that says to you like, "Oh, you dream too big," or that's never going to happen? I know my son and David used to say that, like, "Oh, you're just going to sit and make money on the computer, whatever. Like you can't." So there was just a lot of like negativity and not a lot of support, but I just did it anyway. And that was that connection I had with like a spiritual source within me. However, I can still see it happening sometimes. And so um, let me see here real quick. All right, so a couple ways you can find your shadow or your golden shadow, and then we'll do the drop in. Comparison. So if you get stuck in comparison, so like I can't do that, like that girl because I'm not confident. The second one is envy. So when you feel jealous, and jealousy and envy are kind of different, but like when you envy someone else, like, oh, that person has a beautiful relationship that I don't have, or that person is beautiful and I'm not, or, whatever comes up for you guys of like where you compare, or I'm not as good as that photographer. Like, oh, I do photography, but I'm not as good as like whatever. I'm not a professional. Um, and then the other one is admiration. So when you're looking at someone that you admire and you put them on a pedestal as if this person can't do any wrong. And a lot of people do this to like celebrities or coaches of like, oh, they know all. They know everything. They just tell me what to do and I'll do it because I'm going to put you on this pedestal. We're human and we do that, right? But just remember, like, okay, well, what is it that you think that that person has that you don't have? That would be the gold in the golden shadow. And then the last one of the hero and love projection. So when we idealize someone else in power, we can see no wrong, even if they do wrong. So, like the president, whichever president you want to talk about, or maybe, someone in your company, or maybe your husband or boyfriend, all right? That love bombing in the beginning where all the red flags come up, but we're like, no, it's okay. They're just wounded, or they really don't mean that, or they're just having a bad day or whatever, right? We have this like love projection of this person that we just love them so much regardless of the shitty things that they do, but then then when it's over we hate them, right? Or when they do something, actually this has happened, David's done this to where he does put me on a pedestal, and then when I mess up I'm like the worst person because I have made a mistake. And so it goes from one extreme to the other, right? So, you're going to save me, but when they don't, yeah, they're hated. And in love, we overlook red flags when we see them as broken, so just keep in mind of like when that's happening. And when you see that happening, like, oh, okay, there's a shadow, a golden shadow underneath that, that you don't see your power, right? Basically, we're just finding our power again, right? We're empowering ourselves when we do that. So, um, okay, so we'll do this. Let's see, what time is it? Does anybody have any questions or anything before we go into doing this drop-in? And then I think that is it actually. If you do have a question, just you can either type it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself while I get this drop-in thing ready here and the music. Let me see here. Okay. I know everyone's tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Wednesdays are so like busy. Okay. So if you guys want to go ahead and just get comfortable, you can light a candle if you would like to, or grab like a crystal. I'm going to actually burn some sage real quick. It actually has cinnamon in it. And then we are going to do this practice. And what I suggest to do, because what we're going to do tomorrow night is also do kind of like some like a sensitization practice where you're really tuning into your body. So with somatic, like the thing that somatic shadow work is, is different from like regular shadow work is the body piece, the feelings, the sensations in your body, the relaxing, the noticing what's happening within your body, and moving the energy through that, which is what we'll be doing tomorrow night. It's just really important to trust yourself and to be open to receive, right? There really is nothing else that we need to do. And your subconscious mind, even if you do fall asleep, and this isn't going to take too long, so we're just going to do the first part, the drop-in practice. But like you just be open to receive, and that's all you have to do. It's super easy. I do all the work. Hold on, let me see if. Let's see, where is that? Oh, here we go. And then, Janelle, can you hear? Hold on. Can you guys hear the music whenever it starts? Hold on, sorry. You hear that? You
No,
can? Huh?
no, I think it's my laptop.
Okay. Well, that's weird. I wish you could hear it. Stacy, you can hear it?
Yeah, just barely. It's really, really faint.
Do you need to turn up here? There. That's as high as I can go.
Yeah, you can hear it. It's light in the
Okay.
back. It's light in the background.
Okay. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes and feel the support underneath you. Take a big breath in through your nose. Have your belly inflate. And starting to bring your awareness into your breath. Breathing in again. In through your nose, just seeing a light going into your nose, down to your belly. And then releasing any stuck energy. And just letting go of the day and the stress and the anxiety of whatever you took on today. And so noticing now how your breath just flows in and out. Noticing how cold or warm the temperature is in the room, on your skin. And then how focusing on the rise and the fall of your chest. And now bringing your awareness into the top of your head. And noticing any tension that's there. And sending that breath to meet that tension. And as you exhale, just letting the tension leave through your breath. Now bringing your awareness into your jaw. And if you could, how would you relax your jaw just a little bit more? And drawing your awareness now into your shoulders. And as you breathe into your shoulders, just pulling them up towards your ears slowly. And then releasing and exhaling and just allowing your shoulders to melt down from your ears. And just allowing any expectations to melt off as well. And as you exhale now, just allowing your shoulders again to relax and bringing your breath and awareness now into your heart space. And just taking a moment to feel in this space. Feel your heart open as your breath expands into your chest. And your breath melts away any tension that's there. And now sending that beautiful breath all the way down into your base, into your root chakra. And as you breathe into your base, just noticing the support that's holding you. And on your next exhale, just allowing yourself to become heavier and heavier. And allowing that tension from your head, your heart, your body, your back and your base, just melting into the support that's there, holding you and supporting you. And now taking a moment to tune into your body and letting your body take any changes in posture or movement that you need to make, or take any deeper breaths that just allow, or that your body needs to just drop in even deeper. And now bringing your awareness to the darkness behind your eyes. And I want you to see yourself in a dark room. And as you turn around, I want you to see an elevator appear. And you see the lights around the doors peeking out. And as you start to walk up, one foot in front of the other, you press down on the arrow that's going down. The doors open, and you step in. The doors close behind you, and you start to travel down. 5, allowing your breath to slow and to be natural. 4, any thoughts drift away. 3, dropping in deeper and deeper. 2, feeling the weight of your body on the chair, the bed. And 1, the elevator stops, the doors open, and you step into this gorgeous and beautiful meadow. And as you step into this meadow, smell the fresh air, feel the sun kiss your skin with warmth, listen to the breeze rustle the leaves, and feel the grass beneath your feet. And as you feel your feet, just feel the roots growing down from your feet and into the earth, grounding you to now, and knowing that at any point you can always return to this safe space. And now you turn back around and you see that elevator. You walk up and you get in it. And as you travel up, I'll count back from 5. And on 1, you will open your eyes and find yourself awake and alert. 5, just noticing any sounds around you. 4, feeling the seat beneath you and your clothes upon your skin. And then 3, starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And 2, taking one final big inhale in and sigh it out. And 1, when you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back into the space. Okay, cool. I can't believe I did not cough the whole time. Oh, Abby's sleeping. Okay. All right, you guys. So, do you guys have any thoughts if that was the first time you've done that? What a good reason to do that sometimes is to be able, well, why I like to do it all the time is because you're in the subconscious, right? So when we go into that dark room and down that elevator and into that meadow, when we do the shift tomorrow night, there's a purpose for that. There's a purpose to every part of this scientifically, and that's why I absolutely just fall in love with this, because if you didn't already notice, but when we play music, and I know Janelle, you couldn't hear it, but I started to get emotional myself. Like, emotions are going to come up. So if you cried, if you started to cry, if you felt any type of emotion start to come up, that's amazing. And that's actually with the music, and I have a whole playlist actually. That's a shadow shift playlist that tomorrow when we do the shift, we'll go through the whole thing. But with Stacy, Stacy is I love doing shadow stuff with Stacy because I love doing it with everybody, but it's really she just takes it and rolls with it. And it's just such a beautiful thing to do with somebody. I truly believe if you want to be a healer and you want to have a business doing this, learn how to do this, because this is the safest place when you can bring someone to a space where they are not going to be judged. They can release their emotion, which is what all my clients do. Sometimes you guys just cry when we get on the phone or on the thing, and you just cry the whole time, because how many people let you do that, right? How many people in your life let you just cry and not make you feel bad for it? So it's tomorrow, emotions are going to come up, you're going to cry probably. I might cry even leading it because I need to release. I've done a lot of emotional release this week since being sick, but I can feel that there's still some that needs to come up. And just know that like you're safe here and going into that meadow, that's your safe space and you can come back. That's why it's okay with people that have had like a lot of trauma. I have a client, a couple that have had deep, deep trauma, and I'm looking at all of you when I'm doing this. Like I'm watching you. Your eyes are closed, but like I've had people like say, okay, I gotta stop because it was getting very overwhelming. So anyway, it's just not something to take lightly to do this work. It really is like transformational when you just allow it to happen instead of fighting it, right? So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on that process and if you'd ever done it before or if that was the first time you did it and what your experience was. So if you're watching the replay, please let me know. I'll be posting in the chat. So does anybody have any questions or want to share a takeaway from today? Or something you're going to do after you get off of here? This is the integration part. Let's just reflect on what you got out of that, of all that information. I know it was a lot. Or you guys can type it inside of the chat after maybe you'll be sleeping and maybe something will come to you or a question or whatever. Just like let me know and post it. And then tomorrow night, so tomorrow night's our last night. Also, I do want to show you guys this. Sorry, hold on. Then we're going, guys. I'm so sorry, but I forgot to show you the offer, and that's what I wanted to do real quick. And if you want to get it on a Zoom call, just the two of us, so we can kind of go through the program a little more, see if it's something that would be a fit for you. Because what it is what we're doing here is what we do in the program, but it's more of so like it's a one-on-one plus the group coaching, right? So you get same structure as this last time for anyone that was in it this last time. Where is my slide? Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, right here. So what it is, it's 3 months of one-on-one coaching. And then it's 6 weeks. It's actually the group coaching is going to be only 6 weeks, maybe 8 if we decide to, depending on who all is in it. But yeah, so it's 3 months one-on-one plus the 6 week group coaching program. So that's a bonus. That's something that just comes with it. And we start the next round of that on April 6th. I think it's on a Monday, or sorry, on a Saturday. Maybe it's April 5th. I'll have to double check that. So what we do though, you get 6 of the soul coaching sessions. So you have a session with me every other week. If you want more than that, if you want weekly sessions, then there's like an add-on that I didn't put it on here, but it's like $100 more for 8 weeks, or sorry, 12 weeks of coaching. So it's like, it's $100 more, I think is what I'm putting it at. And what we do in those sessions are this, right? It's shadow work if there needs to be, but I help you guys get really like clear around what it is you want to really create in your life. Like the goals. The goals, something you want to create in 3 months, right? And that's why 3 months. I don't do any less than that. I'm actually gonna be offering more than a 6 month one too that I'll share tomorrow night. But for this 3 month one, it's a great introduction if you've never worked with a coach before. If you have never really been coached, you don't know what it is or what it entails. And what coaching is you set a goal we make a plan, you go try to do those things, and then you come back and you report, and then we figure out why you can't do the things. Or it's also to create those habits. It's to create that relationship with yourself, right? So it's we clear the clutter of the past, of all the things that are just kind of lingering from all the work you've done up until now. But if there are things that still need to be cleaned up around trauma or learning how to create safety in your body, finding your resources, reintegrating those shadow pieces, regulating the nervous system, and just expanding that window of tolerance. So then you can like show up regardless of what's happening in your life. I mean, even if you're really sick, I almost still showed up that week. We're like, nope, the show must go on. And that's what I said this week. And then once we clear all that in, because it's a process, right? A lot of people try to go straight to the fun stuff of like, oh, I'm going to be a healer. I'm going to show up and help people. I'm going to do all these things. But then so they jump all the way to that. And working with people, it's very triggering. And then we stop showing up because we see failure or somebody gets mad at us or, whatever it is with the human behavior, right? And the connections is like when you're trying to build something, and this is what I really want to shift to is like business because I have built a business and because I've been doing this long enough, I feel good to now teach it. But I think starting a business, anyone who has one that's on here knows this is true. It is the number one self or personal development course you will ever have in your life is starting a business ever, more than anything else in the world. You start a business and put yourself out there, you're going to speed up your healing by, oh my gosh, lightning speed. You literally do a quantum leap when you start to create something and amongst all the chaos in the world, right? And so we'll clear all that, right? So you can kind of get clear around what it is that you want and your all the things in your authentic expression, connecting with yourself, others, the world, really raising your emotional intelligence because that is the secret to a successful business is having a very high level of emotional intelligence. But also discovering what your truth is, because right now, up until now, you have all these opinions and this conditioning and all the words of everybody else around you. And so I really help you like dissect and separate out the voices and opinions of other people and whatever against your own, right? And really just starting to stand in with conviction in what it is that you stand for and your truth. And then also aligning your mind, body, and spirit. And then we go into the third session or the third phase of co-creating new experiences that align with your true nature, because that's how we rewire our whole system, right? And that's how we come back to our who we truly are and getting clear on that vision, and then stepping into your role as a very powerful healer or coach or business owner or whatever it is that you want to do. But like you're gonna step very confidently into that, and then we start to really develop your processes and your strategy, right? If you're going to be a coach or a healer, you have a specific strategy that you use with yourself. And now we can just break it down into how to help other people do that. So I want to help you guys do that. So it is $397 pay in full or $150 for 3 months each month. It's $150 a month for 3 months. This will not be this price again. It'll actually go up $100 next time, and then the next, and then this will be the last year that I do that. So yeah, that is the program. And you guys have access to the online portal. There's almost 100 videos and trainings and workshops and meditations and all the things I've done over the last 5 years are all in one place. And then also we have Telegram that I communicate with you guys with, and you get support through that as well. So if you guys would like, anybody wants to schedule like a one-on-one where we can kind of go deeper into this and customize it to what it is your goals are for the next 3 months. And I'm doing this on purpose of doing it quarterly, right? So like anyone I'm working with now, this is the last month we're working in March. And then We'll start in April. We'll start another. So like each quarter is when this is going to be available. And it's really a time to be very intentional with who you surround yourself with too, right? And creating stepping into your highest potential. So if you guys don't have any questions, let me know. If you do, you can message me. And then tomorrow night, just meet me here at 7. And I want all of you to have one shadow, a golden shadow that you want to step further into, whatever that is, right? Really dissect this and reflect on yourself. What is it I want to step further into? And what's my behavior right now? What am I watering down in fear of whatever? So I'll put some more ideas in the messenger, but all right, you guys, have a good night. I hope you sleep well. You will, since you did that. Your subconscious is like, I just want to go to sleep now, like Abby did. But all
Oh
right,
no,
guys.
was that obvious?
No, it was beautiful and
It was
amazing. I love it.
amazing.
It was amazing. I love it when you go to sleep because like your subconscious is still, plus it's like past your bedtime, Abby. I know it is. But our subconscious still soaks things up when we're sleeping. It still is doing its thing. You don't have to always know, like, you don't always have to be awake. But when we do a shadow shift, you will though, because then I ask questions and you have to actually answer them because you're having a dialogue or a conversation with your shadow. So, but anyway, that's okay. All right, you guys. I love all of you. I hope that
Love
you
you.
for being
Love you,
here. I
sis.
love it so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Joy.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Maybe.